Hello, BookTube. I thought we'd go through the latest Entertainment Weekly. I've been seeing online that this is an issue that has their big fall preview books section. So once we get all the way to the back of the magazine, past the reception, past the broom closet, past the loading bay, to the book section, that should be fun. This is their tribute issue to the great Aretha Franklin. But before we get to the book section, I thought we'd stroll through the rest of the magazine because, as we've seen, looking through Entertainment Weekly, there's quite a bit of book content that isn't in the book section. And look at that! You no sooner get to the front. I have no idea what all this garish stuff is. I have no idea what this is, but the book club buzz has 3 novels. One of which is The Incendiaries, that was reviewed on my very own Open Letters. But, it isn't just that. There's a ton of stuff in the entertainment world that is drawn from literary... So there we go. Crazy Rich Asians. Drawn from a book. And that's long before we get to the book section. What else we got here? Then a huge tribute to Aretha Franklin. Oh my. In all the ages of her career and all the milestones. Wow. Oh boy. Well, I'll read it, but it's going to be tough reading, that's for sure. Oh, God. Big article on raging a-hole tobacco addict Troye Sivan. In case you're wondering, one surefire way to know if someone's a raging a-hole is to ask yourself one simple question. Have they ever screaming at the top of their lungs? In other words, the highest pitched, most frantic scream they possess. Have they ever, screaming at the top of their lungs, fired a close friend or family member for buying them the wrong hair product? And bonus points if, while the firing is happening, they throw something at the close friend or family member. If you have done that, you are a raging a-hole. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to work my way through the Q&A with Troye Sivan. Let's just move on from there. Okay, yeah, there's a review of the new movie version of Papillon, drawn from a book. There's a review of Emily Mortimer's new movie starring Emily Mortimer and Bill Nighy, The Bookshop, which is, I believe, adapted from the Penelope Fitzgerald novel of the same name. Yeah, and then, look at that, see? Okay, so look at this page. This is now playing about movies that are in theaters. First of all, half the page is a book advertisement, but then the other half, look at the list. There's The Wife, which is based on a novel. There's Black Klansman, which is based on a book of nonfiction. Mile 22, I believe, is based on an action thriller. Crazy Rich Asians is on here. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. These are all adapted from books. I tell you, Entertainment Weekly is often viewed as just sort of vapid supermarket fare content, but it gives me a boost of encouragement because their content is much more bookish than it seems, and that's awesome, I think. What else have we got here? Yeah, look at that. Okay, so Carolyn Kepnes's book You is being adapted as a TV series. Who's this? Stars Elizabeth Lail and Penn Badgley. Penn Badgley is the crazy stalker in the TV adaptation, which is going to take a bit of selling because he's like 4 feet tall and weighs about 70 pounds. You could actually, any reasonably athletic woman could simply, if he bothered her, she could simply grab him by the front of his shirt, pick him up, and carry him to the nearest police station. Just sort of hurl him over the desk. Here, deal with this. So there's going to take a lot of mood lighting and creepy music to really sell that. What else have we got here? Well, of course, Entertainment Weekly is all over the fact of the Jack Ryan, the adaptation of again a fictional property, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan character for TV. Sooner or later, we're going to get to the book section. We're almost out of room. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're at the book section, edited by Kevin Sullivan, and this is it is okay. So this is Fall's 25 must-reads. I trust that by this point in our never-ending journey together, you see a line like 25 must-reads, and your first reaction is, what does Steve have to say about that? I trust that that's your first reaction now. You might want to go the extra step and make it your only reaction. Okay? But this could be gruesome. What 25 picks are they going to do? All right, so number 1 is Lake Success by Gary Steingart. So we are off to a horrible start because Lake Success is abominably awful. just an abominably awful novel. So then there's The Winter Soldier by Daniel Mason, who did The Piano Tuner, that became a success, an unexpected book club and bestseller list success. And The Winter Soldier is a World War I drama. Okay. Then number 3 is Washington Black by S.A. Edgegen, which is a novel about a slave boy that was nominated. It was on the long list for the Booker, and I was skeptical, and then I read it, and I really liked it. It's really, really good. Boy, though, that's 2 historical fiction in a row. Okay, then The Caregiver by Samuel Park. This luminous mother-daughter saga marks a posthumous gem from Park, who died of stomach cancer last year. Oh my. The Caregiver. It's this yellow one. It's that yellow one. Author died of stomach cancer. Okay. Then World War II historical fiction from Kate Atkinson, transcription. All You Can Ever Know by Nicole Chung. The Witch Elm by Tana French. A lot of you love Tana French. Heavy by Kiese Lehman. Then on the sidebar here there is a preview. It's not a review. It's just an ad basically for Michelle Obama's upcoming memoir that I have yet to read. It's floating. Review copies are floating around there, but I have yet to read it. Okay, all right. Then there's another one of those sidebars. This time on Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami. That they don't review it yet. They will, but I have an advanced copy of it, and I could not resist. I read it, and I fully intend to read it again, probably more than once. But my first impression is that this is a Murakami that I will like. There is no middle ground. There are no Murakamis where I finish and go, metza. No, instead, I either love it or I hate it. And I'm thinking this is one I'm going to like, which I've heard horrible rumors, horrible insider baseball rumors about the 2 different kinds of Murakami registers in his fiction. What are you doing? What are you licking? Get away from there. This floor is covered in things for you to... Get away from there, Frida. Come over here. We're covered in cardboard, but we also have a Chewy toy. And it's all being ignored in favor of some schmutz on a book. But anyway, as I was saying, there's a rumor, there's always been a rumor, that the Murakami novels that read more controlled, more cerebral, more compelling on a narrative level, have significant help. They have significant hands in them. And that the ones that read like totally self-indulgent brain farting is all him. Just straight from him to the translator. I don't know if that's true. Of course, don't know anything about those rumors. But one thing I know for sure is that my first impression of Killing Commendatore was positive. And I don't know what that bodes for the book among my reviewing brethren. Many of my reviewing brethren review nothing except the made-up stories. And with them, I have noticed a tendency, no names mind you, to poo-poo books that are more straightforward, more meat and potatoes. It's almost like these reviewers tend to like difficult fiction and tend to automatically equate it with worthwhile fiction. We know better than that, don't we, BookTube, on this channel? We do nothing of the kind. In my reviewing career, no matter where you find me, on no matter which continent, will never do that. I'm on your side, not the side of the author or the side of, 200 years from now on Mont Helicon. But we'll see. I'm curious to know what the reception of this book will be. But next we have Barbara Kingsolver's new book, Unsheltered. Then number 16, number 16 is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. What a book. Oh, you're going to notice it in your bookstore when it comes out in the fall because it's bright red. It's all about libraries, and it is gorgeously written, just unbelievably moving. It's just, I think it's going to be hugely successful, and I am certainly going to do my part to make it so because it's an amazing, amazing book. By a huge margin, the best thing that I've ever read from this author. Then number 17 is Elevation by Stephen King. There's no way he's going to write 2 books in a row that I like, so I'm not holding my breath. Then Family Trust by Kathy Wang, Seduction by Karina Longworth, My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and then 21 is The Ferrell Detective by Jonathan Latham. Jonathan Latham's new book. They've got a little sidebar on buzzworthy YA novels, including Marcus Zusak's new book, After an Epic Case of Writer's Block. We'll can't wait to see what that's like. And then that's it. So that is the 21 must-read books for, or 25 must-read books for, I must have lost count in here somewhere. 22 to 25 is the YA novels. So we have Bridge of Clay by Marcus Zusak. We have Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. We have Dear Evan Hansen by Val Emick. And we have Wild Card by Marie Lu. So that makes 25. And then you'd think, we had a few features before this, and then we had that, but we're still not done with books. That's why I love this. And the next one, the last of the books, is The Fall of Gondola by Christopher Tolkien. This is the last, he says, the last of his editorial presentations of his father's work. This is many versions, many different drafts and versions of the epic story of the Fall of Gondola that I think we saw. I think we saw the book on this channel, one way or another. They also review it and give it an A minus. Casual Lord of the Rings readers may struggle to comprehend much of Gondolin beyond the striking illustrations from longtime Middle-earth artist Alan Lee, as the book assumes significant prior knowledge of other Tolkien sources. Deep lore delvers, however, will be rewarded with a thorough understanding of one of the modern fantasy's seminal works. And the write-up, not a review, but the write-up is The Fall of Gondolin marks the end of the era. J.R.R. Tolkien once described it as the first real story of this imaginary world. For now, it is the last. But as with other mythologies, it's only a matter of time until a new generation reconfigures the Middle-earth myths anew. That's rather ominous. That's rather ominous. What was that again? For now, it is the last. But as with mythologies, it's only a matter of time until a new generation reconfigures the Middle-earth myths anew. Okay, the foremost person in the way of that in the past has been Christopher Tolkien. The foremost person who has planted himself directly in the path of, for instance, authorized sequels, like we're getting endlessly with Dune, has been Christopher Tolkien. If he's done, is that a hint that, oh God, that's too horrible to think about? Now I'm wondering the Tolkien estate. Now I'm wondering about the Tolkien estate and what role they had in authorizing. Isn't there some sort of HBO special that's in the works now, based on Middle Earth? I'll have to look into it and see. Especially since we're gearing up for a massive Tolkien event in October. I want to call it Octolkien. I don't know if anybody else will agree. But more on that later. Wow, okay, so that is Entertainment Weekly, and you have to admit, for an entertainment magazine, that was a lot of book coverage. that was a lot of book stuff to do. Great, fantastic. I wonder how much effect that list of must-read fall books will have anymore. I'll have to look around and see if anybody's talking about the list itself as opposed to individual books on the list. But one way or another, I'm going to go, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.